or what?
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, I'm just asking if you're going to be seasonal or year round.
No, we're hoping to be year round.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any board members have any questions for this vendor?
I think the only thing I would say is that whole area, I walked it you and I walked it last week. It's very condensed between Tommy Bahamas, Blaze Mota. Everybody, it's so condensed there, and then it's kind of spread out. I think we need to spread that out a little bit more further down with him. Do we have people doing burgers already? Do we need another food vendor that does burgers? I'm just curious.
Other comments?
We have one that is in the food court, Girls Gone Wild, but he would be, he's talking about being outside of the food court. So that would be okay to have another food, vendor. He has a little bit different items as well.
I think it's kind of nice to have some food offered throughout the whole street and not contain everything. I know we like to have a food court, but I can understand this person wanting to have their cart outside of their tent outside of their store, which would probably be pretty convenient. So
I looked at the packet this week, and I like Alex's price points. I think he's putting together something that people will eat, and the price points are reasonable compared to maybe some of the vendors who are a little bit high priced. So I'm pleased with that. And last week, all the food vendors were extremely busy. There were lines everywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
There were lines everywhere. So that was, I think we definitely can continue to take in food vendors, because I agree, it was a very busy on the street with food vendors.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Alex, the only recommendation I would make, Alex, is if you can have seating for people. That seems to be the commodity that's most in demand. And if you're going to be close to your brick and mortar restaurant, that might give you some advantage.
Yeah. We planned on having, something similar to like card tables with maybe four or so chairs at each one. If that's allowed, we would do, more if possible. I wasn't quite sure on the the placement of the table and the situation with that, with everybody walking, but definitely I agree. And yeah, that would be great if we could. Like I said, we're right there on the corner, so our store is extremely busy, which thankfully, and having more people right out front wouldn't be a bad thing.
I think we should make a motion.
somebody want to make a motion?
Celia, I'd like to move that Baja Burgers be added to VillageFest.
Okay, Greg.
I'll second.
Julie has seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 Welcome. We look
Cool.
forward to seeing you.
You and
Talk-
see everybody there, and the process was great. And I will get a hold of Faith probably tomorrow and get the fees and everything handled.
Sounds great.
Celia, I have a question.
Sure.
So the name of the business, the name of this business is different than the name of the brick and mortar restaurant. Is there a reason for that?
Are you asking me that?
Mm-hmm.
Just to differentiate, the two. I mean, having what we set aside the brick and mortar tacos and having another one right out in front, I guess would kind of be redundant. And like I said, it's something that if we ever started another brick and mortar, it would probably be the direction we're going. So, and that's kind of what we have, the cart set up for, and we just figured it'd be something a little different.
So are you doing doing business as, or is it completely separate business than the brick and mortar?
It's separate.
Okay.
You have different corporate papers?
Yeah, well, we're under an umbrella, which would be our LLC, and then basically how we're setting it up, separate processor is it'll be separate numbers.
Is that a problem, Faith or Jasmine?
Well, it's just a little concerning in terms of if we're gonna count this as a downtown business, it should have some paperwork that is associated with the downtown business. I just don't want to set a precedent for, this particular business could be on the up and up, but I don't want to set a precedent of someone can just say, oh, I'm part of this business, and have a completely separate business from what is being done on the boulevard. And now we have two separate businesses taking place and possibly receiving a significant discount, to saying that you're part of a downtown merchant business. So I want to make sure that there is some sort of association with the two. If they have two completely separate business names and they are not doing business as, and then have a separate name, then we basically have two separate businesses. Does that make sense?
So Jasmine, you're looking for the same corporate papers to be out on the street like everybody else.
Kind of, yeah.
It's the BA, and that's how I did the application. I mean, it's Gonzalez Hospitality Group, doing business as Baja Burgers. So it just has a little, obviously the name's different, but it's like everybody.
But are you also under Patron too? Is that the same as Patron?
El Patron is under that entity of Gonzalez Hospitality Group. Yeah.
Okay, as long as they're both under the same business group,
Yeah,
I think we can make that work.
Yeah.
I don't want to set a poor precedent where we've got, now we've got other businesses trying to come under downtown merchant businesses and getting a significant discount and selling products that aren't readily available in storefronts.
Okay.
So as long as we have paperwork that attaches the two businesses together, I think it's doable.
Okay. Yeah, and we have all of that. So if needed, I could supply it to her.
And then I just would also just like to remind the board that it is a requirement per our rules and regulations for food service vendors to have at least 1 6-foot table and 6 chairs. I know that Faith has been working to try and create more of a food court area and requiring all of our vendors to put their tables and chairs into that space. We had discontinued that pretty early when we returned, just to allow the vendors to kind of clean their own tables for COVID. But now that we're kind of moving away a little bit from that, we do want to try and recreate that food court experience where all of the tables and chairs are kind of located in the same area. It's not necessary for this particular vendor, because if they are outside of the food court, we obviously want them to keep their tables and chairs near their tent in a safe space that isn't intrusive to people walking. But for all of the vendors that are in the food court, we do require them to have tables and chairs located in a common area in the food court vicinity. So I know that Faith and I have had a lot of conversation about ways to make that more appealing and make sure our vendors are following through on their requirements and try and recreate that fun food court experience.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Jasmine. That's a good clarification. All right, Alex, so you're approved and you just need to get in touch with Faith and we'll see you on the street.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay, next up is Melissa Wilson with Geotic Jewelry, crystals, necklaces, belts, and leather.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Melissa. This is Pam.
Hi.
And as you know, we're called Geotic, which means part of or related to the earth. We design one-of-a-kind handcrafted fashion apparel and jewelry, and we feature raw, authentic crystals and semi-precious stones. We're proposing to have a booth there at the VillageFest starting in October. I guess that's your season 1. And I can show you sort of samples of what we do. I have everything here with me, but we have a scope of 4 different products right now, which are our signature line of hats. We call them third eye activation hats. And we have necklaces, chokers, necklaces, we have cuffs and belts. So those are like the 4 categories that we currently have. And I can show you some. This is the most original, really, these baseball hats with crystals on them, quartz, amethyst. These are very different. You're not going to see these anywhere. We use leather patches. We create the material, you know, we use like leopard and snakeskin and metallics, and we have stones,
Amethyst, quartz, smoked
you know,
quartz.
on them. I don't know how well you could see them, but our website, we have good photographs of them. So that's a popular, very different, unique collection that we.
Can I stop you there just a minute?
Yeah.
Were hats on your application?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Is
So
the hat made by them?
yes, it is.
Melissa?
Well, the baseball hat's not, but everything else is, yes. So we handcraft and we've designed it. You know what I mean?
but
But
Melissa,
not the cap.
right.
Not the cap itself, no.
Melissa, can you describe how you make that hat in your hand? Tell me what you do to make that.
Absolutely. We sew the leather, the patches on. We have a.
You buy the hat, is that correct? You buy
Yeah,
the
we
hat.
have it made. We have it made for us. I mean, we've got our brand name on it, as you can see. So we have the hat. We have a bunch of fabrics of all kinds, you know, leopard, alligator, snakeskin, metallics, etc. We sew it on the hat. We adhere crystals to them. So that's kind of the process in a nutshell. I don't know.
Now, do you do those processes yourself?
We do it ourselves, yes.
Rocks, yes, absolutely.
We do everything ourselves. Like the rocks have to be
Shaped.
shaped and you know,
Drill them.
drilled down, and there's a lot to it actually.
Okay.
So that's one of the, you know, items. We're gonna have cowboy hats in the future and stuff as well, but that's our main collection of hats right now.
So realize that, excuse me, Melissa, realize that if you want to add cowboy hats in the future or anything, you need to come back before the board and have those approved as well.
Absolutely.
We're approving tonight, anything that you can show us. that you
Yeah,
have in your booth.
that's, and what I put on the application, yeah. And that I gave to Faith pictures and yeah. So the other thing, the second category, if you will, are necklaces. You know, we have big quartz, again, the same concept with leather. You know, this is leopard skin leather on chains. We make everything, you know, we put it all together. There's all kinds of different ones, if you can see. You know, this is a labradorite. I don't know how well you can see it, but
So do you drill the holes to connect them to the
yes,
chains?
yes. Here, these have holes. So, you know, this is a choker. There's quite an array of them, all kinds of different colors, shapes, sizes, stones.
Chains.
It really could best be seen on the website. There's very good photographs of them on there. I have everything on there. You know, you can kind of see in the back, there's a lot more. I don't want to, you know.
Can I ask you where else you sell your jewelry?
On our website. That's it. On our website. So we haven't done any booths anywhere. I personally, since I live here now for the past 3 years, I'd like to do it here locally, you know? So then the third category, or we have these really cool belts. I don't know if you can see the buckle. This is a huge amethyst. There's some quartz. Again, the buckle, you know, we do the same thing. We use like leathers and we adhere the different stones.
But the buckles you buy.
The
The buckles we buy, yeah.
And then we put the leather over it, and then the stone is
Yeah.
attached.
Yeah.
The stones are
There's
very
like-
difficult to work with. I have to drill them.
Yeah, so, because these are all very raw. Some of them are very irregular shapes. So it's very unique stuff, you know, very artistic, or, you know. So that's category number 3 that I've got on there. And then we have some cuffs. Same concept. The concept runs through, you know, it's the fabrics with the different stones. This is a smoky quartz. This is an amethyst. You know, so there's a lot. I can continue to show you more, obviously, but I think you get the idea. And as we go, we're adding more stuff to it. You know, we're gonna have some handbags and, you know, like I said, some other hats, but this is the main collection right now. And yeah, so. that's
Melissa, I have another question, please.
Sure.
I think what you're doing is interesting.
Yes.
I honestly am having a little bit of a hard time understanding the craftsmanship. It seems to me like you're buying a lot of your components,
Right.
but you're affixing stones or semi-precious stones to them.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about the amount of work you do, how you make this unique, how it's handcrafted, as opposed to just being an art and craft item?
Well, we have to, you know, we get these big raw rocks. I could show you. We have them in the work
There's a lot
bench
of
there.
sanding
So we have to shape and mold the rocks to be able to create the jewelry and design it. You know what I mean? And then selecting all the, you know, fabrics.
It's the shape
and-
of the rock to lend itself to the pattern that's
Yeah.
on the patch, the shape of the patch, the
Yeah. I have photos, videos of us making it, if that might be helpful, that I could email. But it is involved. It is.
the shape
So,
of the
In the
patch.
case of the hats, you buy the hat.
Yeah, in this
You-
case, and these, we buy these, we make them, you know, we've got our brand on them, we've got our tags in them. I mean, we technically could make them because, you know, you can sew this together, but we've purchased these that, you know, we've had them made
But
for us.
you apply a patch to a hat,
Yes,
and you have made the patches, and you have,
made this, yeah, handcrafted the
The
stones.
size of the patch, the shape of the patch, and that dictates what stone goes with.
Yeah, so it's quite a process. I wish I could show you, demonstrate for you. So
I
you
think-
see, you know,
Well, let me
This
stop.
kind- Go ahead.
Do you
Julie.
get a lot of your stones? Do you get a lot of your stones from quartzite, or do you mine them?
no, we have different people, like in Brazil, we have different sources for stones. Yeah, so no, we don't mine them. I don't go into mines and stuff like that. But I have
But you
a
could also
large
buy that
collection.
size stone at various rock shops, right?
I'm sorry?
No, we don't.
You
go-
can buy-
No, we don't go to like retail rock shops,
That's
no.
way too expensive.
No.
Not
We
retail, but
buy
like
large
quartzite.
amounts. I'm sorry?
But I'm talking about like quartzite where they have, you know, the rock.
Yeah, the
and stone.
wholesale, sure.
Right,
I've been, absolutely, yeah, places like that, other vendors that we have,
right,
partners.
right.
Arizona.
Yeah, so,
So it looks like you're using the hats and the belts as a canvas. Is that correct? You're adding, because we've had people in the past who have had hats that they purchased from other stock and added to the hat. So this might be perceived as adding to that canvas.
right, I suppose so, yeah, I guess you can say that, yeah. So,
So you have the hat and you have the material and you glue the material onto the hat.
yeah,
And
we
then you
sew it,
attach-
we have to sew it, yeah.
So, and then you have the stone that you also buy and it's attached to the hat. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we put it all together, we design it, you know,
As
so.
well as.
So all your stones that are on your hat, you cut down, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, we have to shave them down.
Sand,
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of a
But
process.
the board's trying to decide if like you just buy the stone like that and then you just put it on the hat. So they just need an explanation as to how you get to the size of the stone, I think.
right.
Yeah, the stones are they're raw, so they're very irregular. They're just in wild shapes and stuff. So we have to like
Sometimes
break them. We have to chisel them. We have to shape them to be able, you know, for them to be wearable and applied, you know, accordingly. So it's a lot of work. I mean, we have drills and all kinds of tools to do
Again,
this with, you know.
The pattern on the
With
pattern
your-
mat dictates the shape of the stone.
With your necklaces, so are you saying that you do that same process? You refine the stone and then you
Absolutely.
drill it?
We have to do,
What, excuse me, where do you get the chains for the necklaces? Where are those from?
we put them together, we make them, you know, they're just chain links we put together, you know.
You buy the lengths of chain and add them. to
Yes,
the-
yes, stainless
Some of them
steel,
are-
some are gold plated. There's quite a array, some are black, you know.
It's very industrial.
You know, so it's a very modern kind of look. And, you know, there's chunky ones, there's thinner ones. So it's quite a vast array.
You kind of buy that on a roll, right? And then you cut what you
You
need and
cut
make it.
them,
Some of them,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
Some of them, exactly.
Not all of them.
So do we have any more questions or comments for Melissa? Does anybody want to make a motion? In any direction to either approve or disapprove? David, are you making a motion? No. I'll make a motion that we accept these vendors and let's see if we get a second and a vote.
I make a motion that we hold back and see it in person.
Agree.
Can you submit videos to Faith showing us the process that you do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, I actually want to see the product in one of our next meetings.
That's a great idea. I actually recommend to see it in person because it's much better represented in person. So I can easily get some samples to you guys whenever whenever you want.
So Faith, can we put this on hold and have this merchant or this vendor come back to us when we're in person so that we can see the product itself?
Yes, I'm not sure when that will be, because that might be a process before we are able to see it in person. If she sends videos of her making the items and cutting the rocks down, is that enough? Would that suffice for the board?
I think that would help for sure.
And I think the applicant said they didn't want to start till October.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what we
So
were.
And
We
I
have
mean,
some
and
time.
if the only, and she has, pictures and things like that here, but not, I think that Greg was the only one that came in to see the that would make you feel more comfortable. The pictures and everything here.
Yeah, I can email them too. So you
Yeah.
guys can share them. I
And
can,
I think a video of your process, actually watching you grind the stones down and drill the stones, that would be really helpful.
absolutely. No problem at all. We could do that.
Okay.
And that's emailable, So we
Okay,
can-
so then I guess we will hold this pending more information from you, videos. Maybe the board can, make sure we get down there to see the videos in person and look at some of your pictures, but we will hold this and you will submit more information to Faith.
Will do,
All
absolutely.
right.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Benjamin Perderian. Did I say that right, Benjamin?
Yes, Benjamin Perderon.
Hello.
Hello, how are you guys?
You're a downtown merchant and you're Best of Saint-Tropez.
Yes, you got it. So I used to own a store across the street, 301 Palm Canyon. I used to sell a lot of linen from France. That's my job, to import products from France. And then 5 years ago, I moved to another location at 184 North Palm Canyon, and I opened a clothing store. But I do have a lot of people who come to my shop and ask me where they can find my table linens, and there is no places now in Palm Springs are in. So that's why I was thinking to come back with the same things I used to do like about 6 years ago at the street fair and having my booth, but just to sell the table linens, not to sell the clothing. Then it will be a French those two, only from fabrics from France, but no clothing, only table linen. I have some people I can show you too. It'll be just like really native from Provence. So it's only things that are made there. And the main component will be like table linens like this, like round shape or rectangular. And I have like about like 20 different design and color. And this is like, for example, another kind, all made out of cotton. And I think there is nothing like this in here. So my goal was to provide just something different and all handmade in France.
It's certainly a different product for sure.
I've seen it before. It's quite beautiful.
You remember me?
Yes, I do. Oui.
Hello. Oui. So yeah, it was pretty successful before. So now I have a little bit more people in my team. So I was thinking to come back and try to do it again.
So are you in the area that VillageFest is located in? Is your
Yes,
store?
I'm 184 North Palm Canyon. So it's just across where Sephora is, on the other side of the street.
Okay.
I know next to me, next to my store, there is a Greek vendor, I think. And I was thinking that could be nice also to have like a Greek spot and the French spot. And it sells like lighting and everything, and I will be like linen. So, and for me, the convenience to have something in front of my store is just to get in and out. My products will be way more easier for me, for sure.
So it will be nothing in the clothing line. It will all be table.
No, only table linen. And only two sizes, round and rectangular, but a lot of different colors and prints and stuff like this. And my price range will be between 40 and 75.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Matt?
Let's make a motion.
Benjamin,
Well,
I'm
does he
sorry.
have the table linens in his store? That's what we need. to
No.
know. Okay.
But he can, after he knows that
Yeah,
that
he
would
would
be
have to have the
required.
table linens in his store in order to sell them on the street. The store has to be a reflection of what.
I can have some inside if I'm required to have them, but locally now I don't have any because I do only clothing. But if it's this way better for you, then I can do that.
Yes, I think just to fit within the rules and regulations, you
Okay.
really would have to. However, I know that you had the linen store before, and I know that you have the clothing store now, and I'm your neighbor on the next block. So I would definitely support you out there.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? When would you like to start, Benjamin?
If it's possible this Thursday or the next one, if it's too early for you guys.
That you can work that out with Faith. All right, do we have a vote? Do we have a motion?
I make a
to approve.
motion that we accept the French linens.
Second.
Second by John, firsted by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
So I'm
Benjamin.
gonna just provide a little place inside the store with all the table linens I have at the booth outside. Okay.
Good.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
We're looking
Thank you,
forward to
Benjamin.
it.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
Okay, next we have Matt McKnight with Octavibe. Matt, are you here?
Matt, you're on mute.
Matt? Could you put yourself on video and audio? Matt? All right, maybe we'll circle back to Matt at the end. Aaron Trotter is up next with Illustrated Plan.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, Matt,
there
are
he
you
is.
here? Sorry, Aaron.
Got me yet?
Yes,
Yes.
you're on.
Now I can't hear you guys.
This is Zoom in a nutshell. I remember having Zoom calls like every day or every other day, remember?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't hear you guys now. Go ahead.
Are you muted?
There we go. Sorry.
Okay, are you on? Can you hear us?
Muted that whole time. Oh my gosh.
Can you repeat that?
And can you tell us about your product?
Yes, I build musical wind chimes. So I have a couple set up here. So I tune them all to musical scales. I have three different sizes and sounds. They're high quality, made of aluminum, red oak wood. And let me play another one. This is my little helper, Noah. So this is what my displays look like at my booth. I have a little information on each one. And that's pretty much what I do. I just build musical wind chimes. I call them sound bath wind chimes because I use a special tuning temperament. I tune them in different scales. 2 of them are in major scales. One is in a Dorian scale, which is a minor scale. So you get a little different sound from each one. I'll play the third one for you.
That's lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, so I have a tent with my logo on it. We bring a table and so these little wind sails down here. Can you see that? I'll go on the other side where the sun is at. So I put different designs on each of the wind sails. So people can choose between 5 different wind sail designs. So they've got 3 wind chimes to choose from and then 5 wind sails to go with it. We just started this up probably 6 months ago, and I've sold about 200 of them, like in the Inland Empire area mostly. I'm in Redlands. So
do you make the wind sails yourself, the patterns?
yeah, I make everything. I cut all the wood, all the pipes. I make the wind sails. Yeah, I have I just get stencils and I spray paint the stencils onto the wood and then put a lacquer finish over it. So it kind of looks burnt in because I use a automotive primer paint. So it gives it like a dull. Everyone asks, are these burnt on there? I'm like, no, they're just painted on there. But yeah, I'll give you a closer look. Like
range.
What was that?
Can you give us an idea of the price range?
Yeah, the smallest one is 165 and the biggest one is 210. And the medium size is 180.
Yeah, we saw that. Did the board all see the videos that were included? So we saw that clearly they're handmade. So
yeah.
Do we have any questions? Anybody have any comments or questions?
I'm in my shop right now, so this is where I do all my work at.
All right, do we want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Matt into the VillageFest family.
Anybody second?
Second.
I'll second.
Hey, we've had it. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt. We'll see. You can talk to Faith about when you can start and where you start. So welcome to VillageFest.
Right on, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, now, Aaron, thank you for being patient. You have illustrated playing cards, prints, and postcards.
Yes. And unfortunately, I'm traveling right now, and I don't have the actual product to show you. And that was my my mistake. But I am what I do is I visit cities and I make sketches on location. I've traveled the world drawing many cities to make many decks of cards. I have almost 50 different decks of cards. Each deck contains 52 sketches of the place, and it's a great souvenir and a token of the place. Locals love it, tourists love it, for all the different cities wherever they're from, or people get gifts for the holidays for different cities to send to people where they live. And I've been making playing cards for 12 years now. I have a new deck for Palm Springs and Joshua Tree, which is going to be created in about another month. I'll have the actual deck of Palm Springs to show you with prints and postcards, because I've been to VillageFest and I noticed no one has paintings or drawings of the downtown landmarks. And that's what I do. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I drive up and down the coast of California, do other events at Monterey and LA. And I do have my local Saturday market booth in Portland, Oregon. And when I'm not there, I have my dad work for me. But I'd love to come and participate at Palm Springs. I'm in Texas right now. I've been sketching a new deck for Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. I'm driving all around for this week. So I wanted to show you some of my sketches. This is the Alamo.
See it.
And I draw on site with a ballpoint pen. And I make color notes, and then I'll go back to.
It's really difficult to see, Aaron. I'm having a hard time. I mean, I can see.
Well,
but
this is part of the process anyway. If I get another chance to show you my product, maybe next month I'll have the Palm Springs deck. I'd love to present that to the board when it's ready.
yeah, I think we definitely need to see your product. So we can't approve you without seeing your cards and note cards and all of that. We'd love to see them. It sounds beautiful. And I would encourage you to come back at our next meeting or whenever you can to actually show us the product.
Okay, well, if you can invite me to the next meeting, I'll be happy to show you the product and you can see how I do the work there. And
Aaron, price range? Can you give us?
Yes, they're $20 a deck, or you can pay more.
I'm sorry, and how many are in the deck?
52.
Oh God, yeah, I'm sorry.
52 drawings. Yeah, each deck has 52 drawings. 2 Joker cards refer to my artist statement, my plans to draw the world. And there's an index included, which identifies all the places. But I'd really like to have another chance to show you the product when I'm more prepared.
Aaron, I would like to say I saw your packet that you submitted, and I really thought your artwork was quite good.
Thanks.
Honestly, I felt a little bit unsure about how popular playing cards are today, but that was just my perception. I would say that your postcards would be a great hit.
Absolutely.
Keep in mind that the VillageFest here, at least during our season, our favorable weather season, is predominantly tourists. So I would strongly encourage you to have more Palm Springs type illustrations as gifts and memorabilia in your product line.
Yeah,
but
I will have that.
I think promote your postcards and maybe even some greeting cards with your drawings, because your artistry you're talented. Your drawings are great.
Craig, I work in the Palm Springs Museum store and we sell a lot of cards, playing cards.
Yep.
Oh, and I do think especially I think your point is well taken, especially anything that sort of epitomizes Palm Springs and
right.
But cards are still selling, playing cards are still selling.
Agreed.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know why, but people have been buying my cards for 12 years. Either they like my drawings or they want to buy a deck for their city, for their visit. But I have orders online all year long, Christmas time and birthdays and housewarming presents. And
I thought, Aaron, just as my personal opinion, I thought if you had a line of napkins, I thought that would be a really cool idea. Cocktail napkins.
What you mean?
Cocktail napkins.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Hey, and I'll sell whatever it takes. I just want to sell my art and put it on anything.
As you probably heard,
postcards and prints.
You've probably heard before that we would want you to amend your application then to include other concepts and ideas that you have, like, I think I heard like birthday cards or greeting cards and the napkins or cocktail napkins. If you can do those, rather than have to come back before us and present it again, if you can put it all together and price it out, I think it's a great idea, and it's so unique.
Well, I can offer playing cards, postcards, and prints. And that's what I said in the application.
Well, we look forward to having you come back and show us these things in person. We'd love to have you come to our next meeting if possible. How often are you planning to be at Village Fest?
Probably once or twice a month.
Okay.
I could come down. I do a show in LA Saturday, and then Topanga Vintage Market is on a Sunday. So I could come the Thursday before or the Thursday after that.
Great.
Cool.
So be in touch with Faith, and let's get you scheduled for our next meeting so we can actually see your product.
Cool. Thanks for your time.
Sounds very
Thanks, Erin.
interesting. Thank you very much.
Bye, Erin.
Okay, last but not least is Charming Smiles of La Quinta. Dr. Nieto? I don't think is on. Oh, are you? No,
Doesn't look like it.
doesn't look like it. Dr. Nieto? All right. Well, that was short and sweet. Moving on, then, do we have any unfinished business? New business?
Sorry, I did have something I wanted to ask about.
Right.
Usually we start to have an art contest that has to do with the schools when it is very soon to the end of the school year. And we would be a little bit earlier. So I was wondering if anybody was interested in having an art contest again this year, if maybe we wanted to talk about it before it was too late at your next meeting.
Joy, that was on my list to talk about today too. I was going to see if we
Really?
could put a subcommittee together for that project. It's such a great project, and since due to COVID, we haven't done it. That it seems like it's a good opportunity to kind of bring that project back around. I think most of these people are new. Do you want to tell them, what we've done in the past?
Well, we've had different themes for an art project with the students. One of them that was just very broad but really easy was just what makes me happy. So everything about it was just sweet as can be, and that was nice for sure. And then we judged the submissions. They come similar to the way that I do the holiday banner program. They come on a half sheet of paper, and then from those winning entries, then they get printed, and they're hung downtown for a certain amount of time. And on some years, we were able to even have a little award ceremony for the winners whose banners were going to be hung. It's just a nice program. It's relatively inexpensive. It's about $50 or $60 to have the banners printed. And I don't know, Jasmine could probably even work out something better with Canyon Copy than that. It's just a nice program. It's just nice.
Joy, did they do
where's
something with, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, David.
Joy, did they do something with the Sunline Transit at one point?
I think that was the Public Arts Commission.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was part of this.
Joy, where's the artwork posted? Where do people see it?
The banners downtown, the light post downtown where there's currently other banners. So at the time, I think we take the banners that are right at the corner of Tockwitz. I mean, I don't know if it would be different now because of the development there, but they're hung on the light posts like our regular banners are, downtown banners.
Do we have time to implement this program, given that we're approaching May? Joy, you've had the experience before. How long?
I think that you can. We have done it we've been much worse than this before. Let's just say that. I mean, one year we finally had to just accept it was going to be a summer project, and we were going to go with like summer school and the camp at the city and those sort of locations. So, you have to be flexible.
And this would be talking to schools in the area and getting students involved in making the design?
Yes.
And do we limit it to elementary school or is it all the way through?
Anybody, any student that wants to participate.
That sounds like a great idea.
And it's not all complicated, like the holiday banners, pre-COVID were all hand painted. So it was a much more complicated thing. This, we just go and get them printed. So it's really easy. They give in the design, it gets judged, they go to Canon Copy.
So how do we?
Pretty much. I mean, there's a little more than that. There's always more than that, right, Faith? There's always something else we didn't think of.
So how do we inform the schools? Do we just sound out a notice to all the schools in the area that we're having this contest? How does it work?
Yes, we send out a notice, and Amy Blaisdell from the city could be asked to send out a notice as well. And then there just needs to be a specific place that they go to, like, you know, the VillageFest office. They could be dropped off or mailed there and a deadline date. And, you know, after that, it's really fast. You just judge and then send it to the printer and it's done.
I think that sounds awesome. I think we should jump on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be glad to work on that if you would allow me.
Yeah,
with somebody else. Sounds like a job for Chris,
Yeah.
if you ask me. That sounds like a Chris project.
Sure, I'd be happy to help out with the Joy 100.
Yeah, it's
We
just
could
fun.
do
Or anybody
we could
else
do a
that wants to.
subcommittee. We
Yeah,
could do
I
a
can't
subcommittee
actually
with,
be a
I think we could get 2
subcommittee.
more people on there.
I'd be happy to be on the subcommittee.
Okay, so we'll do Chris and Celia.
That would be terrific, and I'd be glad to just help out however I can.
Yes,
Or
so we'll do
whatever.
We'll have Chris and Celia join the committee, Joy, and if you guys could, you know, get together just a timeline and what it is that staff can do to help support it. This is a fantastic project, and we normally have the posters up on Palm Canyon throughout the summer because it's a little bit of a slower season, so we don't have as much a need for promotional banners that go there. So we've been pretty lucky that we'll get to keep them up throughout the summer season. So I'd like to continue that if possible. But yes, I agree with Joy. It is the timing's okay. We'll get them up for the summer season.
So Joy, can you be our mentor?
I would be glad to do whatever I can to help you on this.
Thanks, because I've never done it before. So if you could.
Super fun.
Give Chris
Fun and easy.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay, moving on to reports. Any public reports, board reports? Main Street, Joy?
No, everything's pretty good. I mean, as far, you know, we don't have any issues at all. And I appreciate the way that things were handled today on the few things that, like the downtown merchant that, you know, just at this store, he only had clothing, but he could just sell his linens there too, as he had that whole store before. And so for you to take that extra time with him and, you know, I think it was a good meeting today. You definitely saw the fact that some of the other person's clothing that they were attaching crystals to seemed to be just attached to them. And so that was, I think you guys are doing really good. You know, I really do. I think you're doing good. You're catching all those sort of things, even the food vendor. And is it the same business or a different business entirely? So I think you guys are catching on of what we need to do to keep it as an event that doesn't rile everybody up on the other side of the sidewalk.
And thanks to Jasmine for catching that food vendor, making sure he was, you know, had the same license for both. So thank you, Jasmine, for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, any subcommittee reports? Staff reports?
We don't have any staff reports. I did, just to go back to the subcommittee, I wanted to see if I could get a subcommittee to possibly support staff on creating maybe like a 6-month recruitment program of some sort. I know we've talked about it a couple times, and We're talking, I know Julie mentioned, trying to fill out the rest of the street, which I know Faith is doing her very best with what she has available to do. And I think part of that process is recruitment. And sometimes we got to start recruiting now so that we have a strong fall. But if I could get a couple board members to help me just do a little bit of research on where events are, who, maybe designate some events out to some board members and staff, and Faith and I are happy to kind of join in on that and do some vendor recruitment. It would be helpful, and maybe create some incentives to try and get some new vendors into the event. I think it would be a good kind of offline from this board meeting, and then we could just report back.
Jasmine and Faith, you may know the answer to this. How many people do we approve and don't follow through with you? How many people fall through the cracks or all of a sudden change their mind or can't afford to do it or decide not to?
I'll let Faith answer that.
It's like the street kind of, as some of the board members will say, the street kind of weeds itself out. So it just depends. I mean, it depends on if they're selling, and if they're not, and if, it's hard to say. Like, we do have some that come maybe twice and then they're gone. So,
yeah.
They go through the process. It just depends on, if they give it a little time to stick it through, or, I mean, there's no, you guys do see a lot of them, but some will come to this meeting and then I never hear, they'll get approved and I never hear from them again.
I'm aware of a few, and that's kind of why I asked the question. I'm wondering if we can provide some kind of a guidance or mentorship or something to help them along. If we think that, after 2 weeks, all of a sudden they quit, and we said, we worked with them and just said, what's not going well? How can we help you? What, give us some different opinions or options or something. I know a woman from my church who has been approved here, but she doesn't have the courage to do the entire booth on her own. And every week I talk to her, I'm like, you've been approved. We like your work.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, maybe if I have my sister-in-law or somebody, younger help me. And I'm like, whatever it takes, get your work out there, because it's unique and it's cool and it's different. And I just don't want people to fall through the cracks, especially when they are already approved and they've paid their fees up front and licenses and all that kind of stuff. I'd be happy to help out on that. It's kind of like, employee retention, the way in my career field, you don't want somebody to leave without knowing, could we have fixed one little thing to maybe help their experience become better, and they want to stay with us and become successful?
I know when I walk VillageFest, I always ask merchants, how are you doing? How is it?
Yeah.
Usually the reply is great, and those people that are saying great are the people that have a good product and that stay around, and maybe, as you say, Dave, are not intimidated by the process. So I like that idea of a kind of a retention, like what can we do to help keep the vendors, help retain them, and can we help them?
Or perhaps it'd be possible to look at 2 or 3 vendors that are super successful, that have been comfortable and doing it for many years, that could be advisors, or like a coach, maybe. I'm trying to think of American Idol and that kind of stuff. Just says, what do you think can be improved from a different perspective that we're all not catching. Bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
And just to hop in, just real quick, I'm definitely up to subcommittee something like this as well, because I think, definitely, like you had mentioned, Celia, kind of just being vocal and asking, seeing how things are going, is definitely important too. But I'm gonna hop off. Let me know if I can help in any way as well. But yeah, keep.
Thanks,
going.
Chris.
This is all good.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Chris.
Have a great night.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Jasmine, I'm happy to volunteer for that.
Okay, that's great. So we'll create a recruitment and retention subcommittee.
Oh, I just love that. It's such a good idea.
It's a great idea.
So to John.
It's a great idea. There's some vendors who sometimes I wonder if the personality of the people behind their table is limiting the people who walk up to them and take a look at what they have to offer. But I strongly support that, David. Thanks for bringing it up, and I'll do whatever I can to help.
Sounds great.
And
I'd be happy to chair it or lead it or whatever.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey,
What can we
Jasmine,
do?
are
Can we
you?
do 3 board members?
Pardon me?
3, okay. So
Yeah.
we'll do
Chris,
John, David, and Greg as a subcommittee.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, Joy, go right ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna
Really quick,
ask
Who
you.
was the subcommittee for that one? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. For the
Okay,
recruitment and retention?
John, David, and Greg.
I was just gonna ask then, as summer is kind of coming up, if we're gonna allow nonprofits and neighborhood organizations and et cetera have booths for free to help fill in some spaces.
What if I bring that up when I meet with the committee, the subcommittee, and see if we can loop that idea in, because it'll be a new idea to all of them, how they feel about it, and we'll bring that back to the board at our next meeting.
Great.
Some recommendations.
Are we doing anything to help promote Dine Out for Life? Is that next Thursday or the 28th? 28th. It's the DAP's one of their biggest fundraisers for the year.
We haven't done anything to market it in the past.
I think they're struggling a bit because they've done some changes in their management structure. Again, just a thought, as soon as I heard that, I thought, wait a minute. I talked to somebody a couple weeks ago and said, yeah, it's kind of new to us. We're doing it differently this year and we don't have as much participation because of previous years. But it's a big opportunity for them. I don't know, connections inside there and such, but it's just a thought. Maybe Joy or anybody else.
Do they have any flyers or anything like that for that event?
I've seen a couple of Facebook postings, and I think Nextdoor had a couple of blurbs about it, but it's not getting much publicity because it's going to be a much smaller event this year, just because the restaurants and service industry is really still struggling.
Yeah, so we do have, I know that a simple thing for them to do, if they had some flyers, they could put them at our VillageFest booth, and Irene's really good when people come up, hey, let's, hand this out. So if they wanted to drop some flyers off at our VillageFest booth, we'd be happy to hand those out to people and let them know.
I think it's a great idea. I'm going to look around for a card somebody gave me that said, talk to this person. And so it's on my messy desk here. But
I have contact at DAP. I have a contact. I'll email them after this meeting and see if there's anything we can do to help support them.
So like next week, if we would be able to come up with a list that says, hey, when you're at VillageFest next Thursday, these restaurants, these bars, these, places are going to be supporting DAP, and I don't even know who else is involved in it, but that's just a thought.
Okay, not a problem. I'll follow up on that one.
Maybe like next February, we could even find out if some of the VillageFest food vendors would like to participate in dining out. And, I know this is the story of my life. I'm always like at the completely last minute, but maybe that could be an interesting thing, because it's always on a Thursday, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's
I think it's always on a Thursday.
Okay.
So that could really be a nice partnership, possibly. I don't know. It's not my money. I don't know what they think, but.
Okay, so we have, out of this meeting, we've had 2 potential subcommittees, recruitment and retention subcommittee and the art contest subcommittee. So I think that's been a great addition. So any other comments or questions before we adjourn?
Have we talked about in-person board meetings yet?
Say again, Dave?
Number 10, have we talked about in-person board meetings?
We did, and Faith is, we have to wait till we get action from City Council.
Wow. Okay, sorry for my tardiness tonight. Internet problems all day.
Greg?
Celia, you did an absolutely outstanding job chairing the meeting tonight.
Thank you. I didn't know about it until 15 minutes before we came on.
Even better, even better.
Thanks for all of your help and your patience. And with that, I guess we will adjourn.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Hi.
We need a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. See, that's spoke too soon.
I move to adjourn.
Do we have a quorum still?
We do.
We're gonna be stuck here forever.
I second. All in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.